If you want proof on how much of an impact systems can make on your business and your life, check out this conversation with Jamie Mixon Cure.
As the industry shifts throughout, the last 12
markets
years.
contracts too.
Yeah. So what, how have you kind of shifted and managed your team around the industry and how it's changed over the last couple of years?
So a lot of my initial big growth was because I did the traveling, right? And so I needed a big team
A lot of support.
to support the leverage of the lifestyle that I wanted to live, life by design, right? So I didn't get into real estate to work 24/7, but we all know that is kind of what it's expected.
Yeah.
So I learned through the MREA about leverage and what each role did. And so I knew that I needed so many people for admin. I needed a buyer's agent. I needed listing agent if I wasn't going to be here. I needed somebody to run the office, that kind of stuff. And so as I just started putting it all together and finally got it where I wanted, I had a 7th level team, and I knew I could be in Mexico still closing deals.
Yeah.
And so it helped me see you can put the pieces in and take them out as you needed them.
Yeah, sure.
And so then when I came back home, I realized I didn't need all that. And then the market changed, again.
Yeah.
So I just kind of, again, picked and chose what I needed.
Yeah.
And I think it's smart to also pay attention to what you need, and then, what the market is doing. Because some people, they think, oh, let me go leverage and let me go build. And it's almost like indefinite. Like I'm always looking for my next person to add to my team. I'm always looking for, I want to have the biggest team around. And some people will sink from that, right?
Yeah.
Because they don't have the discipline to say, well, this is maybe not the best thing to have right now, or to pull back, or to be smart about it. And so tell me, how long, when you talk about lifestyle by design, I love it. Because I too am not wanting to a lot of people are like, hey, you as an investor, why don't you go get your real estate license? I'm like, I see what y'all do, and I don't want to wear that damn hat. Like, because I care about that lifestyle part. How long did it take for you to build in to where you were able to do more of the lifestyle by design part? How long did it take for you kind of establish your business to where you felt comfortable, or that you could start see the fruits of that lifestyle design that you wanted to see?
So 2012 is when end of 2012 is when I got in. So I did a full year before I started a team. But by 2015, I was living out of the country for 17 months and still running my team. And up until 2 years ago, that was my best year ever. And I wasn't even here. So it didn't take long. But I feel that all of the training that I went through helped me prepare for that life by design, because other than that, I didn't even know what that even meant. And then you say building the bench. That's so important, right? Is to always be building a bench, but it doesn't mean that I'm always going to fill my bench.
Yeah, for sure.
Like right now, I mean, I have people that want to be on my team, but like I don't want that right now. You know, like it's not the life that I'm living. And right now I have the design and the staging and real estate and investing and my life, grandbabies.
On my drive over here, I was listening to some stuff about AI, because I'm like, okay, I personally used to have a team as well, very, very large team, and I pulled back. That was supporting all my investing stuff, right? And I pulled back, and I scaled with some partners and stuff, but like, I'm continuing to do a certain level of business that I need support of some degree, and I don't like the idea of a ton of overhead, right? And so, but I like the idea of AI, right? Because it's something where it's like, it's a tool that I can use to kind of leverage, but kind of go from there. So right now you've kind of, scaled down, and but you're also still growing with the businesses.
Let's talk about systems then. And so when it comes to the real estate team you have, and hopefully this is help you recruit a buyer's agent whenever the market gets right. So how do you hold your team accountable whenever you bring on a new agent on the team?
Hold my team accountable, like hold that person accountable. So typically we would have weekly team meetings. Every day we would have like a 411 where, we talk about what our top rocks are going to be for the day. That was something that we were consistent with doing. And then every week we would have like what we call a cash talk to talk about last week, see what you could improve on, not improve on. I do have better systems in place. I mean, when I started a team, I didn't have nothing. Like I feel like I've learned so much.
You're more developed as an agent, as a business owner, and as a leader than when you first started.
Yeah.
I think the 411's great. I mean, we do something similar to that. And, you know, who taught you the 411? Bold did? Yeah, Dawn Dawn, I know she was part of the whole Bold whenever you came in.
Yeah, she was my productivity coach when I first started.
So she kind of taught me a 411 mindset. We don't use 411, but the same idea. It's like you create your annual rocks, your quarterly rocks, and your
use
to-dos.
EOS.
You have
It's
to
very
do it. Yeah.
similar.
Yeah, we have a different operating system that we follow. But I think the key that anybody who's listening to this should know, if you ever want to be on a real estate team, I get the question all the time. Should I join this team? Should I join this brokerage? And my statement to them is, you have to know what you need in order for me to tell you whether this is going to be a good fit for you.
Yeah.
And so, but then on the flip side of that, agents always want to have a team. They want to grow. Like they always see the idea of the 7-level team like in Keller Williams, and they're not all as self-aware as you are about different seasons of life. They always want to be growing. But one of the biggest mistakes they have is they don't have a system at all, right? They don't have a system at all. And the fact that you just named 3 meetings you have and you follow 411 means that if an agent joins your team, they're going to have somebody who's going to support them and hold them accountable, and not just give them some ideas and some thoughts and then, you know, give them leverage or whatever they want to say they give them, and not actually holding them accountable to the system that they put in place.
I mean, I think accountability is huge for a team, and some people need to be micromanaged and some people don't. And I'm the biggest person to tell you, I'm not going to micromanage you.
Yeah.
We're all big boys and big girls, and we all know that we have to put food on the table for our families. So I will give you all the tools that you need to be successful, and I will help and coach and teach and inspire and lead is 10 ways to, 100. But like, I'm not going to hold your hand and micromanage you.
Yeah.
And I think
So
it's
if you,
important.
and that every team is different. There is teams that will micromanage and they're way more self-disciplined. That's not, if that's what you want, I'm not the team for you.
And I think that self-awareness is huge because you can't be all things to all people.
Yeah. And I had to learn that the hard way. No lie, y'all. I mean, I've had a lot of people on my team over the years.
I've had a lot of trial and error myself too. It's like where I thought this was the right, I was like,
Yeah.
When it comes to setting goals, if you have your team goals. If an agent was coming on your team, and are you the type of leader that would want to give them their goal and help, and then tell them how they're going to fit in, or are you saying, hey, what are your goals? Do they kind of align with mine? Now you can kind of have a parallel track to mine. I'll give you some of my leverage so that you can get there.
So I've done it both ways, and I think what I've learned is their goal might not be the same as you. Like they might not want to do 50 deals a year or engross $1 million and all these crazy things that some of us mega leaders want to do. And you got to be okay with that, because if their sweet spot is, you know what, I only need $30,000 or $50,000 or whatever, like if you can fit that in your world, fit it in. But if not, then that's not the right person.
And that goes back to knowing your ideal, like who's the ideal people to surround yourself with, right?
Yeah.
Whether it's the referral partners, whether it's the people you bring on your team, whether it's your ideal client, whether it's whatever. I think it goes back to having that clarity actually helps you.
I've always been a quality versus quantity type of girl. So I would rather have 30 amazing clients and amazing deals than 100 shit shows. Can I say that on here? Okay. So, and honestly, like the more deals you have, the harder ones come out, right? So I just had 12 pending last month at one time, and I was like, oh, now I remember why I had so much leverage, because the more deals you have pending, like the more bad deals you're gonna see, right? Like when you just have one or two here or there, a bad one don't seem like a bad one. It's just kind of like, okay. But
at the same time though too, you run more of the risk of like, if you don't have the systems, you're like, can something fall through the cracks?
Yeah.
What might happen. It's kind of like when you we would put a lot of weight on this table here, the more weight we put at some point, you might find the weakness point, right?
Yeah.
And what we don't want is whenever basically you take on, for example, you go from, this to that, as far as you're like, oh, okay, having 12 listings or whatever it was, 12 deals you're working, you're like, okay, now I remember this is all the support that volume needs. And it's kind of like there's different devils for different levels, right? Like there's different challenges for different levels. And I've seen that myself. Yeah.
Yeah, if you don't have the right support system and leverage, like you'll drown at 12 deals. Really, you'll drown at 6. Like 6 is when it really starts tipping.
Well, and that's why it's also important though too when it comes to the team, if your support, like that support has to help based on people's goals, because if someone's goal is to have 50 deals, well, that support's going to look different than someone who wants to do 5 deals for the year.